Greetings, this is Griff Ruby with part 32 of my series, Ecclesiology for Sedevacantists, based on Dogmatic Theology, Christ Church, by Msgr G. van Noort. Continuing with the infallibility of the Church, there's a corollary on page 108. Since even though in the Old Testament period the revealed religion was to be piously safeguarded, theologians usually bring up at this juncture the question of the infallibility of the synagogue. Opinions vary, but here in some is that of Cardinal Frazolin. The Aaronic priests undoubtedly exercised authoritative teaching power in sacred matters, but there is no sufficient proof that the charism of infallibility was granted this ordinary teaching body. However, even at that time, God was watching over the preservation of sacred doctrine, and he did so in a manner suited to the special character of that stage of religious development when revelation was not only to be safeguarded, but also to be steadily increased. He effected this increase through new revelations made to the prophets, whose mission, however, was directed no less to the safeguarding of already promulgated revelation than to its further unfolding. Consequently, the teaching office of the Old Testament comprised two elements, the ordinary teaching office of the priests and the extraordinary teaching office of the prophets, and so, considered in its entirety, it guarded the deposit of faith with infallible sureness, inasmuch as the prophets corrected any mistakes which the ordinary teachers might possibly have made. Okay. Moving on, part 4 on this, the object of infallibility. In the definition given above, the object of infallibility was expressed in these words borrowed from the Vatican Council, when it defines a doctrine of faith or morals. It remains now to fix more accurately the meaning and the scope of this formula. This will be done on the basis of the words of Christ and of the apostles cited in the course of the proof, and on the basis, too, of the purpose for which the privilege of infallibility was granted. It is important to pay attention, above all, to the word doctrine, for infallibility concerns the teaching office and so has its special object doctrines, or at least doctrinal decisions, by which some truth is presented to be believed or maintained by everyone. The formula, a doctrine of faith or morals, comprises all doctrines, the knowledge of which is of vital concern to people if they are to believe aright and to live uprightly in accordance with the religion of Christ. Now, doctrines of this sort have either been revealed themselves or are so closely allied with revelation that they cannot be neglected without doing harm to the latter. Consequently, the object of infallibility is twofold. There is a primary and a secondary object. Proposition 1. Primary object of infallibility is each and every religious truth contained formally in the sources of revelation. By a religious truth is meant anything, doctrine or fact, which pertains to religion, i.e., to faith and morals, and insofar as it does pertain to it. The various ways in which a truth can be formally contained in the sources of revelation will be explained in the treatise on faith. According to all Catholics, the present proposition is a dogma of faith. Proof that religious truths contained formally in the sources of revelation are the object of infallibility calls for no explicit demonstration. That infallibility extends to each and every one of these truths, whether they be matters of intellectual concern or of practical action, is clear. 1. From the words of Christ, who promised his assistance to the apostles and sent them forth to teach the nations to observe all the commandments I have given you, and who promised them the Spirit of truth, who will teach you everything. 2. From the express purpose of infallibility. If the latter did not embrace all these truths, one could be doubtful about almost any single truth, for where could one find a criterion for distinguishing fundamental from not so fundamental truths? Sequel. To the primary object of infallibility belong specifically 1. Decisions on the canon or the material extent of sacred scripture or on its true meaning in passages dealing with faith and morals. 2. Decisions acknowledging and explaining the records of divine tradition. 3. Decisions on the selection of terms in which revealed truth is to be presented for belief. Dogmatic terminology, creeds, dogmatic decrees. And 4. Decisions on doctrines directly opposed to revealed truth, condemnation of heresies. For he who knows with infallible certainty the truth of a proposition knows with the same infallibility the falseness of a contradictory or contrary proposition. So there it is too. Non-contradiction. We not only know what's true, but what isn't. And there's no way for something to be true and not true in the same sense. That is very, very important. So in the next part, we will continue with the second proposition regarding the Church's infallibility. Thank you.